Happy Thursday and welcome to today's very, very special episode of Tech Bites. And I am at my base in Ohio. Let us know on the streams where you're tuning in from. But producer, can I get a transition? Let me see where my special guests are tuning in from. There it is. We have Julia and Matt joining us at a very special place. Julia, Matt, where are you both?
We are live streaming straight from Paris.
Inside of the Eiffel Tower.
Yes.
No way.
It's
No
cool.
way.
Yeah.
No way. Show me. I don't believe you. Yeah. Whoa.
It's amazing.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. So we wanted to do something a little bit special here today for the stream. So again, let us know on the streams where you are at. Producers will be watching this. This is fantastic. So this week was KubeCon and CloudNativeCon there in Paris, and I'm sure it's been an incredible week for you both. You know, before we get into some of the topics, maybe high-level thoughts. How has it been?
Just amazing. I feel I'm at my element here, especially as a CNCF ambassador. I love KubeCon. It is my favorite event of the year, meeting people and learning a lot. And I'm sure Matt is having a blast as well.
It's the same. Yeah. All of the interesting use cases and customer stories that pour in such a short period of time. And I think, post COVID, this event has been ramping
Yes.
back to the kind of attendance that we had seen before that, and we are definitely back
Yeah.
at that point.
I heard there were more than 12,000 people.
Over 12,000.
So
yeah.
Wow.
over and more than Amsterdam, which was last year. Then there was Chicago, and more than even Chicago. So it's crazy. Each time it's ramping up.
Yeah, that's crazy. And there's so much demand for this event, right? That there's even there's not enough, let's just say, agenda room for it. And this is going to be one of the first topics I'll start up with. And if producer, can I get a stinger? Let's take a look at these slides. Tell me what this is. This was even before
Yes.
the event started, the rejects,
It
right?
was.
What
So
is
I
that?
prepared for you a few photos. This was Rejects, which is a pre-conference before KubeCon of the rejected talks from KubeCon. And we have our Michael Cade there being a hacker. So he hacked live in front of everyone and showed how to restore a database with Kasten, also using Canister. He showed on Prometheus, but it was really, really interesting. And it's a community event, so everyone from the community attended, and it's great for networking. We had a lot of fun. I also prepared some other photos if you want to go to the next one.
Yeah.
From the
There we
first day of KubeCon. It started yesterday already. So Rejects was on Sunday and Monday, and then yesterday was the first really day at KubeCon, official day. So you can see there's the entrance, La Vie on Cloud Native, because we're in Paris. And the most awesome thing that I saw at KubeCon is that everyone is wearing the Veeam lanyard. So everyone's wearing the green Veeam, and it's awesome to see everyone. Yes, everyone. So imagine 12,000 people wearing the Veeam lanyard.
Yeah, that's
Typically not a scene you would see outside
Yeah.
of Veeam, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, a couple thoughts on that. For one, good thing you told me Michael Cade was, taking the role of the hacker, because otherwise he looked quite a bit Darthzilla.
Yes.
Okay, I was not.
Darkzilla.
Whew.
Hashtag Darkzilla.
Yeah, exactly. It might stick, and
Yes.
plays off of his blog name of Vzilla. Okay, so my first question for you is really right on the keynote, right? Which I always feel for something like an industry event, that is really setting the tone, the high level message, and really a very technical crowd. Okay, so tell me about the keynotes. How did they go? What was the phrase and the vibe?
Yeah, absolutely. There certainly does seem to be, some overarching themes to KubeCon every year as the community evolves, as the workload evolves. I'm going to give you one guess, Rick,
Yeah.
as to what maybe was think two letters that you have heard in combination with one another every 24 hours for at least the last 18 months.
Yeah, it's got to be AI, brother. And here's a look at the
Yeah.
keynote,
Yeah,
and
that's Priyanka Sharma.
unavoidable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. But from a lot of interesting perspectives, I mean, it really is about how Kubernetes as a platform can better support AI and machine learning workloads. So there's quite a bit today that can be done, but there were some interesting discussions, even from NVIDIA, of whether from open source projects or corporate partners, what we as a community can be doing to help fill the gaps. Whether that's from purely a technical perspective, but there's also a lot of discussion around sustainability. I mean, certainly within AI ML workloads, we all know that okay, these are very GPU intensive things that are consuming a lot of power. So we want to be conscientious about, you know, how those are deployed, served, and where we can achieve the most efficiencies out of them.
Yeah.
You know, one quick thing on that, Matt, and maybe Julia, do you think there was too much AI? I mean, I know it's a buzzword, and I'm also personally curious about it. But the GTC, the NVIDIA event is this week, so I'd expect a lot of AI there. But I went to an event last week; it was borderline too much. Was that the case here this week?
I would say there is always a little bit too much AI, but we can't run away from it. I wouldn't say is the future because AI is now. So everywhere at KubeCon and outside of KubeCon as well, at Rejects, we are talking about AI. So there might be a little too much, but we have to have a lot of AI talks. So yeah.
Absolutely. Got to get in front of
Mhm.
it. We got to understand it. And, you know, Veeam's working on some AI. I'm going to come back to you, Matt, on how Kasten can help there. But I just got word from the producers that the map is ready. So let's take a quick look at the map. Again, let us know in the streams where you are tuning in from. We have a bunch of people coming in from India. We've got Brazil. I'm in Ohio. One of our producers is in Texas. The other producer's in Ohio. I think that's the Netherlands as well. Again, just let us know. Let's make the world green, as it were. And
Yeah.
I
is
can
that
see
a
us there.
Sicily is something? I'm really bad. There's an island there in the Mediterranean. I got it wrong, but welcome everyone. Include Czech. Hey Jan, welcome. Awesome.
Not your strong category on Jeopardy then.
You know, it's like because it's the island, I think it might be it actually might be Malta. And I'm not cheating. Okay. But anyways, looks like it's a really big play there. But Matt, you brought up AI, you know, that is the buzzword of the year. You know, where does Kasten fit into that? Because I've had a lot of conversations with people about this notion of ephemeral data and preserving the output of AI. In this cloud native world, how can Kasten fit in?
Yeah, great question. So I mean, it as a platform in general, why I would want to run my entire training stack and then actually serving models on AI in the first place, right? Is it gives you the full control over that workload, right? I have the ability then to run that entire stack on premises. I could run that in a hyperscaler of my choice. And going back to that sustainability argument, or even just the more common cost argument of I can do this training cheaper here than I can there. Having that opportunity to be portable across environments matters, and that's obviously where Kasten plays a role, where there are a lot of stateful components to these stacks that would run on a Kubernetes cluster. I mean, a great deal of training data is typically unstructured, would sit in object storage outside of your Kubernetes environment, right? But depending on the model, the use case, you could have some amount of semi-structured data sitting in document style databases like a MongoDB, or you have more structured data sitting in the Postgres's and MySQLs of the world. And to your point, Rick, wanting to say all of that prompt data and responses to be able to catalog that for future training, future validation. These are all things at that point that would typically continue to live on the cluster itself. So again, the best way to protect any stateful workload running on Kubernetes is Veeam Kasten.
Indeed, and I want to pull in a parallel that I've had from another kind of AI conversation recently. I was talking with an analyst this week. Wow, just incredible interest there in that general session. That's fantastic. But I was talking with an analyst about the use case for backup, and it wasn't a Kubernetes use case, but it was really around, some of the infrastructure assigned to it. And, little things are being discovered real quickly, like the network to and from these AI processing resources to the GPUs is a challenge, and you're going to want these high-speed landing zones. And one thing that kind of came to me is really around the power to create these outputs. This isn't something you want to have to do twice. So there's definitely a sustainability play of protecting this data. And I think if you're cloud native or non-cloud native, I think that's actually super important. And I think sustainability is a factor as well.
Yeah, definitely. There is even a sustainability interest group at KubeCon, so people that are involved in that. And yeah, you're showing the pictures. Oh no, not on, but yeah, it's really something that's on top of mind for people. And I have just a few more pictures to share with you. This is part of the keynote, and that's our booth. We were preparing crepes last night, and the line was huge. Yes, and because we are in Paris, France, so we had to do something, very Parisian, and it was amazing. Did you taste any crepes? Did you have any?
I did not. I did not have any crepes. I will say that I have been very well fed
Yes.
all week this week. I might not be able to eat bread for another couple of weeks after I get home.
Me too, yes. But it was great. It was great. And we've been having a lot of traffic at the booth. And, anyone that is here at KubeCon should definitely stop by and talk to us. We're always, wanting to have more conversations. So, yeah, those were the pictures I've prepared for you.
No, really appreciate those pictures. Those are fantastic, Julia. And it's always weird when a major event is happening and I'm just watching on Twitter because I had a trip last week and I actually had a trip this week and I have a trip next week. And one of these years I'm going to go to the KubeCon event at some point, and especially possibly the one in the fall. And a big shout out to Megan joining from Utah, USA, where the next one will be, if I am keeping score correctly.
Yeah, Salt Lake City, yeah.
Jinx.
Yeah. And that's exciting. I mean, the mountain town, that's great. I think in the US, they always pick kind of fun locations. I was so bummed I couldn't go to the Detroit one because I used to live in Michigan. So lots of good comments and feedbacks coming in, friends. So again, let us know. We'll pick up some of your questions here. And Jan, good comment about quantum computing AI. I mean, we're really on the edge of some incredible stuff, but I'll send a question over to you, Matt, when we think about what we brought here, especially around Kasten and Canister, especially around the storage of Kubernetes. Have there been really serious real world use cases that you're talking to customers, partners, architects, developers? Is it resonating in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say a few key things. I mean, we've been watching this evolution in real time for the past few years. And I would say one that's probably near and dear to a lot of the core Veeam audience that would be watching this right now is the idea of running virtual machines on Kubernetes. So if I'm looking to move off of, I won't mention any specific hypervisor for any specific reason, but looking at alternatives to how I would host workloads that maybe I can't re-platform today, tomorrow, next year, but want to consolidate management and deployment of these things onto a cloud native platform. The KubeVirt project giving the ability to run these workloads on Kubernetes. Unlike most Kubernetes workloads, VMs are inherently stateful, right? So I would say virtualization administrators over the course of the last 20 years have developed certain expectations, right? Of these are the creature comforts I need to be able to, run these workloads, whether that's, just from a core hypervisor perspective or ecosystem creature comforts. I shouldn't consider data protection a creature comfort, right? It is a very necessary thing. So really, evolving from a storage capabilities perspective with things like being able to talk directly to different block storage providers, to do change block tracking in Kubernetes, things like that become incredibly critical to supporting, that growing workload on the platform. So that's certainly one. I've got plenty of others, but I know I'm really bad at giving you short answers for things.
No, I love these long explanations. And when I saw Michael Cade use KubeVirt to, take a standard hypervisor and run it to this new platform and then protect it with Kasten, I was kind of mind blown. And we had, I want to say it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did one of our first data freedom type of episodes. Last week we did one as well. And I really think it's a table stake to keep the backup conversation as part of the platform conversation. Because if someone's going to move to a new platform for whatever reason, I am talking to customers and are like, well, let me reassess. Maybe it's time for the cloud. Maybe it's time for a cloud native format. Maybe it's time for a different hypervisor, Nutanix, Hyper-V, all these different other platforms, even, Science Lab project type things are of interest. And it's absolutely worth reassessing the platform nowadays. But the good news is that the whole Veeam platform can really help people wherever they are. Just got word from the producers, the application is ready. So let's take another look here. And we got a lot of entries. So thank you for letting us know. Oh, Canada's in the house. Great, because that always lights up a big swath of space. Thank you. Looks like I know Megan is in Utah. Another one came in. We got Minnesota, Georgia, and definitely Canada, Indiana. Welcome all. Let's go over to Europe. We got Czech, and we've added Switzerland as well, Czech Republic. We got a great center there in Prague. Let's go to South America. We've got Colombia joining, along with I thought I saw Brazil earlier. Yeah, we got to get Brazil and Canada to really light it up. And Julia, going to go off script, believe it or not, friends. Bienvenido, Martin from Uruguay. We got more people tuning in. Going off script to you, Julia. I think it's amazing because a lot of people don't know Julia speaks 4 languages, and it is absolutely fantastic when we're in like some of the large industry events or our own events. She'll talk to me, and then flip over to Portuguese, and then, oh, you speak French, and let's do that. It's my mind blown. It's awesome. And so actually, that's a question. A large event like this, was it primarily an English event, or was it hosted in French, or how did it roll?
So all events are primarily in English. Even the one in Amsterdam, like independently of the country, is always in English. But because we're in France, I see a lot of people, like French people, and I know immediately when they speak French. So, and then I start speaking French with them. I think because we're here, they come to the event. It's easier for them to come than traveling to another country. But so I would say both, but the conversations are always in English. Yeah, because it's easier to talk tech in English than in another language, because all the words, technical words, we speak them in English. So yeah, I transition to both English and French here.
Yeah, and it's usually what I see is there might be like a lunch table that goes into German, another lunch table that stays in French, but the big mass of it will definitely go with English. But Julia, it's just fantastic watching you roll through the languages. It's great.
She speaks more actual languages than I speak programming languages. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll throw this question up to both of you, right? Is there any topic that dominated your conversations at the event? Kind of something that maybe you didn't even expect you would be talking about at KubeCon and CloudNativeCon. Anything really stick out?
I've had a couple of interesting ones. That one of the other themes of growing use cases is definitely compute at the edge. So whether that is AI at the edge or other workloads, being able to support obviously very resource constrained Kubernetes environments, oftentimes single nodes, single physical disks, so single points of failure everywhere, but they are still doing some form of data processing where, again, if I've only got that one disk, I probably do want to be running regular daily backups, but really being able to orchestrate some of those things at scale. We've moved so far beyond in those use cases what you can accomplish with ClickOps, right? I think one of Kasten's sort of claims to fame is definitely ease of use from a UI perspective, but whether it's what we're doing or any other well adopted project within this community, is that the APIs themselves, they need to be Kubernetes native. Like, we should be doing things declaratively. We should all be sort of subscribing to the same kind of application patterns to really help one another. And I think that's a big part of what's helped Kasten scale into some of those use cases, is that I can manage my deployments and configurations all through Git and using GitOps tools like Argo, but then actually use that to integrate my data protection into my application deployments themselves. So it's one thing, most of the time we think about, I set an hourly SLA or a daily SLA for an application, but wouldn't it be better at that point if I could, at the time I make some commit, some update to my application, and a tool like Argo or Flux is about to roll out those changes into production, I want to orchestrate a backup at that exact point in time and make sure that's successful before I then roll out those changes. So I make a bad schema change. Yeah, I can roll back changes to my Kubernetes manifests in Git. That's very easy. That doesn't get your data back. So being able to orchestrate these things together and keep it, super transparent in order to really support some of these interesting use cases, like, very, very resource constrained environments at the edge is it's exciting to be able to have those conversations because we're built on the same kind of Kubernetes patterns that the people that are building applications that we then protect are following.
Matt, that is fantastic. And if I need to get a new nickname, I have a good one now, but if I need a new one, I'm going to go with Captain ClickOps, because that was my favorite part of that, even though I put Captain on it. ClickOps, that is something. I do have a question I picked up from, this is a tough question, so you better get ready. This question came in from our friend Megan. The question is, what are some of the key market takeaways from the sessions at this year's event, and how is it different from some of the themes of the Amsterdam event? Either one of you.
Market takeaways.
Market, yeah. She's asked. I told you it's a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would want clarification as to what
you can define it. It's up to you. You have all kinds of liberty.
So
social media. Yeah.
I would say market in the way I think about markets is someone. I don't actually sell things, but I guess we all sell things in a way. Thinking about it just in terms of different types of customers and certainly customer sizes. That there is a growing mix here where I think 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you needed to have a significant amount of engineering resources to run Kubernetes yourself. Like, this was a solution for the enterprise shops of the world. The same way that when we saw the rise of Type 1 hypervisors 20 years ago, that took a lot of enterprise IT experience, and I think we're seeing a lot of democratization of these stacks that make it easier for commercial and mid-market customers to consume. So it's not just, a managed Kubernetes going to a partner like Azure to run Kubernetes as AKS clusters. Yep, that makes some amount of administration simpler, but it's the entire rest of the stack on top of that, like the AI sort of data processing use case I mentioned earlier. The amount of components that are required to build that would absolutely make most people's head spin. But because of this community, because of events like KubeCon, it's made it that much easier for customers of any size to consume some of these things and do so in a way where, I could do the same thing as a very small shop, the same way that a Global 2000 Fortune 500 company could. So I guess that would be my big takeaway is you don't have to be one of those Global 2000 platform engineering organizations to start taking advantage of the kind of platform benefits that Kubernetes provides.
Fantastic. Julia, we are getting close to time to land the plane. What is your key takeaway from this event this year?
I would say that everyone is involved with cloud native nowadays. I've been seeing at KubeCon DevOps people, developers, even now PMs, project managers, and marketing people. So it's a topic that everyone should be talking at a company. It's very important, and I'm glad we're doing this live stream here just to start the conversation. But everyone should be talking about that.
Outstanding. So, hey, I want to thank you both. The friends watching the stream, we went through some stuff to get to this point before, and I think Thomas is in the room providing some zone defense to keep the space clear. So I really appreciate that. So, Julie and Matt, thank you so much for joining me live from Paris.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We nailed the timing on this.
Yes.
The sun is setting directly into our faces right now.
Yeah, and we have a party soon, so
there we go.
It was perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Rick.
Yeah, thanks, Rick.
Outstanding. So, hey, friends, there's so much more coming up on the Veeam streams of sorts. On Tuesday of next week, the Industry Insights is going to be talking about Veeam Data Cloud and how it can work for you. And then on Thursday, a week from today, on the 28th, myself, Madalena, and two of our Rockstar community members are going to talk about almost scary stories related to World Backup Day. And I want to also say we are so close to Veeam On. You can go to veeam.com or go to veeamon.com. By the way, promo code Rickatron10 gives you 10% off your registration. Yes, copyright Rickatron. That's right. All right, I want to give a big shout out to Felicia and Jeffrey, our producers. I could not do that without them. And a special mention to Thomas providing zone defense for this stream.
Thank you.
From the Eiffel Tower. This is fantastic. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.